Hi, my name is MARIAH MCMANUS, and you were listening to the Battle Ready podcast. I am here with my family, my friends.
Hello.
I am here with Andres, Brooke, Carlos, Mariah, Aaron, Rob, Colin, Amy, Brian, Nicole, Eric, Mac, other people in the other rooms, and the foxes, the ducks, the mooses. We have alpacas. And the elks and the deers. Okay, so here we are talking about, well, I don't really know what we're going to talk about, but we're out here in Wyoming and recording writing your next record. And by we, I mean you.
We're writing something.
And my dad decided to take a break this week. He is on a road trip with my mom.
Which I just found out about.
You didn't know?
No, I called her. I literally texted all of them in the group text last night after I went to sleep because I FaceTime Mom and she was like, at the airport, and the United lady was screaming over the intercom. I was like, where are you going? Who are you texting right now?
My friends.
I was like, where are you going? And Dad popped into the frame and was like, we're going on a road trip. And I was like, but you don't need to get on an airplane to go on a road trip. And they were like, we're flying to New York to go see fall leaves. And then he said, it's like we're 15 again.
Aww, that's sweet.
It was very cute.
But, so we're not there. We are here, and my dad basically said I'm taking a week off, and so I kind of got you guys to do a podcast with me, and so I'm really grateful, so thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being here. And I don't really know what to do, but I would like to ask you a few questions. I feel like Zane
If
Lowe.
you don't know what to do, then we definitely don't know
Okay,
what
hold
to
on.
do.
Should I start this over?
No, this is great.
This is great?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys. If you think it's great, you can rate and review this podcast on iTunes. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can also watch it on YouTube, and you can see all these guys' beautiful faces. But here we are in Wyoming, and I feel like Zane Lowe from Apple Music, and I really love that so much.
He's from Radio 1.
No, but he's on Apple Music now. He runs
he is?
all his playlists on Apple Music.
Okay.
Yeah, BBC Radio, Radio 1.
Okay, ask us anything.
Okay, here we go. So we are out here in Wyoming. Is that, you guys wrote your last record here, Human.
Yeah.
And then you've just come out with Human Deluxe. Human Deluxe. It's like Human Plus. And this is like the 12.0 iOS upgrade of, do we have an album title for this next album?
It's not an album.
You don't know what are you writing out here in Wyoming? What are we doing here?
Songs to Jesus.
Okay.
We're writing songs. This is like the third trip or writing retreat that we have done this year.
Okay. How have they gone?
Maybe rate each one.
Ooh, exciting.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. Cabo was my favorite one. We did one in Dennard Point that was trash. No. There's some good songs that are gonna come out of that trip. But we still, this is the beginning of Wyoming. We've only been here for like 4 days.
Okay.
But we getting in the rhythm of writing. There's something really special about this place. I love writing.
If
here.
you're listening to this and you're like, wow, they really live it up on these writing retreats. Cabo, you had no power or water.
Power. There was
For 4 days.
There was a hurricane that came.
And I was going to actually meet you guys, and we almost landed and didn't land. And kind of thank God I didn't, because you guys didn't have power or water for the rest of the trip.
It was a mission trip by the time.
Being a mission trip.
For real.
But we're here out in Wyoming. You did 2 writing things in LA or I guess Cabo and then the beach in OC, and then now here. What is special about Wyoming? Why do you guys keep coming back to Wyoming?
There's moose here, and I don't know. There's just something about being away from LA, and there's literally like nothing to do here except for just eat trash and write songs and try to build a fire and try not to kill each other. But yeah, it's just a beautiful place. Like, I don't know, our view right now, you can't see it, but our view is the mountains, the Teton Mountains.
It's quite beautiful.
And there's like, I want to say like 6 or 7 inches of snow just covering all of these trees. And it's definitely overwhelming to be in a place like this, especially when you come from the city and we've all been locked in our houses. And even before that, last year when we came, it's just a beautiful place to come. And there's something about being home that's like, there's just something about LA that's always busy. That's like, you can always find something else to do. You can always find a way to not be productive or a way to not be creative. But to be here is like truly just sort of be surrounded by beauty.
So it's kind of like
And
this.
also nothing.
And also nothing. It's been dumping snow the last 2 days since we've been here. And 2 days ago, we had an interesting thing. I came into the house because I'm staying at a house nearby, and I come in and there's something happening in the room. And there's so many of you guys like tucked away in all the different rooms. So it's like funny when I'm like trying to figure out what the dynamic is. Like,
I'm like, what's the thing that was happening? There's
and
lots of things.
Well, I sit down with you to eat, and you're like, I told everyone there's no complaining today. We made a
Brooke
rule.
told everyone.
But then but I want to. This is Brooke. This is a question for Brooke. But you're the one who told me, and you're like, we said we're not going to complain today. But then there was no power in the morning because it dumped snow. There's an underlying theme through all of your writing trips that there's no power wherever we go. And then tell your story of you doing your makeup.
Well, okay. So every morning we lead devotionals with the team, and the night before, like, I'm like, okay, tomorrow's me. And I was like, you know what, Andy, like, this is my husband, Andy. I was like, hello. I was like, I really think that we should not complain tomorrow because there's a scripture that says, like, bad company, like, leads to bad habits. Like, it destroys, like, good character. Yeah. And I was like, okay, we're so grateful to be here. Like, we're so lucky to be here. We're going to, like, just positivity all day. Wake up, the power is out. And it was just like an immediate, like, getting what you wanted, you know, like the ultimate test of no complaining. And I'm in the bathroom, and Andy had been like, I'm going to do it with you. We're not going to complain. I'm in the bathroom. I have my flashlight on my face, putting on my makeup. Andy tries to take a shower. The water is frigid. And I just stare up into the ceiling, and I'm like, isn't this ridiculous? And I just eat it. And I was like, isn't it funny that we don't have power again? And as soon as I adjusted, the power came on.
Interesting.
Right then, and I was like, well, the Lord speaks, doesn't he?
Damn. I really wish that was like an actual thing where, like, the moment you switch, it just everything changes.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
whoa.
wish we would have known that in Cabo.
Yeah.
All it took was a little attitude adjustment.
So you've removed some distractions. You've removed some complaining. What are some other things that you find helps the process of you guys writing? Because it seemed like maybe the first two writing sessions were tough. So now we're here in Wyoming, and it's snowing, and it's picturesque, and it's beautiful. And with that comes things, I'm sure, emotions, being away from family, getting here. You've just been married. You just got married a month ago. Yeah. A month ago. Hi, Courtney. You want to say anything to Courtney?
Love you, babe.
It's their 1 month anniversary. But now that you're here, do you find that the creativity flows, or do you feel like you still have to tap into something that you're still trying to attempt to tap into this creative kind of pool out there? Anybody want to?
Yeah, 100%. You still have to tap into it. Yeah. Like it just I wish.
I'm still tapping.
It's like all the time. I'm just like, where is it? Where did it go? It's like, you know, it's just and I think, you know, of course, being here helps a lot, and I feel like that helps with the side of like not being distracted and being focused. But then once we're here, we're asking the question, what do we want to write about? You know, what are we saying? So that's why when, you know, asking Mariah, like, are we writing an album? What's the title? I have no idea yet, because it's like kind of discovering what it even is. And so for us, we're trying to really be good stewards of like the inspirational meter, so to speak. It's like we when we sense that it's like, hey, it's low right now. And in the old days, when I mean like 2 weeks ago, like if it was like low, we're like, just power through, let's just keep writing, and then everything is trash. Like everything we write, if like there's no inspiration, it's just we listen back to it and it's like, this is real bad. And so now we're just trying to, like, you know, be intentional with our time, refueling, being in the scriptures, praying together, and sometimes let's just go for a walk. Let's just, you know, go to dinner, or we've even watched, My Next Guest with David Letterman, like several episodes, and just finding inspiration from that, and different Song Exploder from Netflix. Like there's different cool things to learn there. And so we're trying to really be good with, you know, really being aware of what's happening. And hopefully through that, like, we're finding that God is speaking to us, saying something, you know, and putting that into song, hopefully.
Do you find that this is an interesting place for you guys, as in your just like musical career, or, you know, the longevity of the band, and how long you guys have done 3 records together, right? 3 records. This is the 4th, 5, but one of them or 2 of them were EPs, right?
Yeah.
2, 3, 5. So this is 5. You're on a new label.
Yeah.
Capital. This is the second record. The first record obviously gets released in the middle of COVID. Was that just not so weird for you guys?
Yeah, it's super interesting.
It's pretty weird. So now going to this next record, what do you find is like happening? Like, is it a different experience? Is there something you feel like you have to prove, or is there like, you wrote a Human's pretty amazing. It's pretty incredible. It's very anthemy as well. Some big songs. And then do you feel that pressure, or do you guys just try to start from the very beginning from a flat space of like, okay, there's no pressure, there's no expectation.
I'll start and you help me. I think there's a difference in our expectation. You know, because like releasing an album in the middle of right in the beginning of quarantine, like I feel so connected to doing live worship. Now there's no live worship. Like there's our personal worship, there's us living worship, but it's not that communal experience that we used to. Yeah. In that itself, it just changed the perspective on how do we approach worship. Like how do we sing? Like when I'm writing, I know I'm thinking more, not necessarily in the people who are going to sing at church. I'm thinking on the people who are going to be in their car going to work, or the people who are working from home and listening to music at the same time. And I don't know, it's like definitely a different perspective. And for me, it feels a little more like we're speaking things into people's lives, like helping them to open something that will create worship, not necessarily like worshiping with them like we're used to.
Right. Yeah. No, I do. I love that. I have a question for...
I want to say something.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please. Thank you as well.
I do think there's never the same, like what Carlos is saying, there's never the same expectation. But also, I feel like I just sort of have this feeling that every song I write, I'm like carrying this huge weight on my back. Like, I don't know if any of you have this feeling where it doesn't feel like I don't know that I felt like I could scream and run after I wrote a song. Like everything feels super heavy. And to some extent, I'm grateful for that, because I feel like that's the way everyone feels. Mm-hmm. It's like this sort of heaviness on their back, and whatever's on their back is obviously different than the person next to them. And the heaviness I feel is different than the heaviness someone else feels, but it's still heavy. Yeah. And, so I think there's just a difference in like what we're carrying now, you know, and it'd be stupid for us to expect that like what we wrote before could even come out of us now, you know, and I'm grateful for that in a way, not in every way, but I'm grateful for that because it evolves. Like that's how creativity evolves. That's how songwriting evolves. That's how humans evolve. That's how my compassion evolves, or my relationship with Jesus evolves, because things change and perspective shifts and things get heavier and things get better. And I know because we all know because we've seen such beautiful things in each other's lives and in our own lives that things do get better, but we also know things can get really dark, you know? And so I just think there's like there's a different weight to it. And it's almost inescapable. Like I've had a hard time escaping this feeling. And now in this moment, I'll say this is the moment of realization that I shouldn't escape it, that it should be like the power that I use, you know, like that this heaviness is maybe the gift of like empathy or compassion that God's giving us to be able to write for someone else, or to be able to write into the future. And so that was just me evolving that in my mind right now.
No, it's good.
So
I do think this has been a season of life where we've all had to figure out what it is exactly that we carry. And I mean, even just like from my own perspective, we've started doing Battle Ready twice a week. And even that was like such an exhausting step forward, because it was like you go from 6 months of really being on our own to then we're starting to produce these podcasts twice a week. It's been a really rewarding thing. But then, you know, I spoke a message for the first time. You spoke 2 messages. Mm-hmm. You spoke messages, and I was speaking every week before, and I like couldn't speak. Like not that I couldn't, it was like a weird burden that we had to carry of like, when you say that, I definitely resonate of like, what was it that I had to like process and like shake off before I like was able to like get up there and talk. I think a lot of it maybe was a bit of the lack of joy. And so like being around you guys, there's so much joy. It's like an abundant, like maybe you don't have as much inspiration, but you guys got a lot of joy. You got a lot, maybe you tapped into the wrong thing. Because I'll come over and hang out at night, and we'll all go to dinner, and then I'll leave and I'll be like, Carlos, you want to hang out? He's like, oh, I'm tired, papi, like I'm tired. Ay, buenas noches. And then I'll like, the next morning it's like, we played baseball till 4 a.m, and like, where were you when it all happened? You should have been here. And I'm like, Wait, what? Like no, I walked home by myself. Like what?
No one can anticipate the fun.
What do you think it is, Colin, about the fact that you guys are so like joy? Oh, here, I'll hand you this one. Okay. We'll switch. That you guys are so joy based and so fun based. Like as you do a lot of like the production work on the thing. Yeah. Does it drive you crazy, or do you love it, or are you a catalyst to it? Tell us your role. Psychiatrist.
I definitely psychiatrist. There's I definitely do not play every game or group activity that we do. I remember what was it, the second or third night we were here, you guys were like,
First night.
yeah, no, it was the first night. It was like, hey, we're gonna play baseball, and I'm like, where are we gonna play baseball? It's 10 degrees outside and we're in our living room. We're not playing baseball. And then they explained it to me, and I just said, no, I'm not doing this, and I go to bed.
Walked away saying no.
So
no.
I definitely am the kind of person that needs to have fun, and I really like being with this particular group because they push me to have fun, and I tend to always forget to have fun and tap into those moments of joy. But I'm really grateful for people like Robbie and Carlos. Honestly, all of you guys just really like.
Say our names.
Say our names.
Robbie, Mariah, Carlos, Brooke, Andy, Amy.
Skipped it.
Aaron. But no, it's I think, I definitely do like to kind of just work at my laptop 24/7, making these songs like as best as I personally can, and making sure that I'm making them sound a certain way. But I like how this first writing retreat, we got here and Mariah was like, okay, just so you guys know, this first day we're not gonna just break into writing. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna spend time together.
And your response?
What did I say?
I told you like, okay, well, because we got here like at like noon or something on Monday or Tuesday, and then I was like, tomorrow we're just gonna spend all day like just hanging out and like spending time together and reading the scripture and like getting inspiration. And he looks at me and he goes, "Oh." I was like, all right.
That probably was my response. I was very caught off guard by it because, it's like, every other retreat we've done, we've probably done, 5 or 6 of these. It's like we get there and we're like, okay, we have such a limited amount of time, but it's been really nice because now we have, a little more time to, breathe and, even like take walks and do videos and stuff. But it's just been really nice because that first day, like we got this whiteboard thing that Carlos made, and we just spent time like praying together and being like, what are we writing about? Like what scriptures are speaking to us? So I think that was like, I just want to thank you for, making that decision, because it was like for people like me that just want to like jump into it and just work. It's like, that was a really nice, like, I feel like it's really set up these songs really well to make something that's, special. So thank you.
I think I've been able to be a part of like the outside of what, because I feel like I'm family with you guys, but I get to watch kind of the process from afar, hear from afar from like individuals from you guys. Is like I hear stories, and I feel like one of the things that is like an underlying theme with everything that I see, and I know that you're a perfectionist. You literally have perfect pitch. You're a perfectionist in nature, and whenever we're sitting down at a table, you're always talking about like that one thing that happened at the show that you were like, and I'm always just like, yeah, it sounded great. Like, and there's like the difference in our level of musicianship. But do you find it hard to be a perfectionist inside of a structure that isn't always seeking perfection, it's seeking joy?
Yeah.
And seeking presence?
I mean, I think that was actually the first thing that really kind of attracted me to Mosaic, and what was so unique about Mosaic, because I had come from, I grew up in church my whole life, and it was, I started playing worship music when I was 14, and even at 14, I was such a perfectionist. I was like, I wanted to be like the best keyboard player, not even in church, but just like, ever. And I was like, I was terrible at the time.
Oh, sorry.
Well, yes, but I had very, very high aspirations for myself, but it was like, I was, like playing in church growing up, I did not really, I felt like there was like a part of it I was missing, and it was that joy. I was like trying to, make my own like worship, so perfect that it just became so sterile and so like hollow. So it was, when I came to Mosaic, it was like, yeah, the sound wasn't perfect.
Tell us what you really saw.
No, it's like, honestly, I felt like the imperfections in a way were so beautiful. It was like, I had just come from something that was so like, had to be so like polished and, refined, but it was like, I felt like I was truly like, like I understood like worship in a new way when I came to Mosaic.
It's like you saw us and you were like, the pitch is off, but they're having fun.
Yeah.
Like she's like you look really good when the lights are low. Like yeah, it's like but I have a question for you. Robbie, you are the Tongan representative of the band.
Yes.
The Islander. The you're recently married. But one of the things that I have the joy of being on our like content creative team, and I get to watch you leading the choirs at every event that we do on film, and you lead it in such a way where you're not just leading a choir. It feels like you're just like sending an army in, and you demand the respect of so many people. You demand the quality of so many people. I've watched you, and as like we cut these like behind the scenes things that we're working on, I watch you just like engage in people in a room in such a way. Where did it all start? Like, where did you get that from? Because if I talk to you like on a normal, like wherever you are, I run into you on the streets, you're like the biggest teddy bear in the whole world. And then you turn into this like lion on stage where I'm like, who is that guy?
For me, when my dad became a pastor, that's when things changed. Because before that, I felt like I was a nobody. I was bullied all the way till I was 13 years old, and I would tell my parents I was getting bullied, and they wouldn't understand that. And I was this skinny, like puny little kid.
You were skinny.
Yeah, I was skinny. And then I wasn't skinny, and then. But I remember there was something in high school. I became this huge Kirk Franklin fan, and I just loved the way that he was leading. He was like having more fun than leading sometimes, and I realized no, actually it was going together. And I was like, did he forget like that they're leading a song right now? Like he's just dancing with the crowd now. And I fell in love with that, and then I was like, I want to do what he's doing one day. And I went to college, I went to a Christian school, and I learned so much there. And I also like just found out that this is my first time I went to an English speaking church when I went to college. And then I realized like, well, I understand way more in English than I thought, because Tongan was my first language. So, and because my dad's a pastor and he could only preach in Tongan, I thought that's where it was at.
Can you give us a little Tongan real quick?
Ofalahayatu.
Oh, what'd you tell me? What'd you say?
I said, I got so much love for you.
Can you? Okay, keep on.
But going to that, it's just I found out once I went there that I was looking for the kind of church I want to go to. I realized it wasn't just going to be my dad's church. I realized it's got to be more than just Tongan, than just what I was taught. And I found that at Mosaic when I came, and I came so broken. And it's funny, I came to Mosaic the first time, and I was like my life was great. So Mosaic didn't make sense to me because of that. And I'm saying that because when I came and I was broken, it felt like that's the first time I was actually open, because I came like judgy, and I came and I didn't know that nobody would.
You were wearing a suit.
Then. Yeah, I came in the suit, and I was like, you know what? I was like, let me just take my coat off so I'm like not as like super dressy. And I had the tie and everything. I have a picture somewhere, but I came there, and then like,
y'all swagged out. Y'all swagged out now.
I never thought I'd be doing worship, but the first thing I actually got to do was sing in a choir with Andy. And Andy led the choir, and then I started getting to singing that. And I never thought, I remember a year, not a full 2 years, but almost 2 years later, Andy's like, hey, I can't do this forever. There's other things that I should step into. And I was wondering, do you want to do it? You're so much better at it than me, and you just love doing this. And he just built, and I was like, and that right then and there, I was like, am I getting to do this Kirk Franklin thing that I always wanted to do?
Yeah.
And then we started using, before I even took over, we started using it on stage, like for Christmas. And then it turned into like, anytime we could use a choir, let's use choir. But there's something about leading a choir to me that like is my favorite type of worship. It's getting to lead people that may not get to lead a song by themselves or sing a solo, but you make them feel like, why am I crying? I guess that's too. Before I even started leading a song, I never cared to lead a song. I just wanted to be a part of something. And when Andy took me in, he was like, do you want to lead this verse? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down. And so choir is a chance to give people a chance to feel like they're a part of something bigger, and without giving them a specific like solo, a specific part in a song, you make them feel like they made the song. Like when we sang in January, oh my goodness, the choir got off that stage like we killed that. I was like,
I'm crying too, bro. Why are you doing this to me? Like, I want to say this real quick. Are you crying? Oh dang, we all got. Are you crying?
yeah.
Okay, good.
No.
I still remember the first time you led at Mosaic. It was there might have been one before, but I remember the first full song that you led. I don't even remember what song it was, but I remember it was at a midweek, and the actual room went bananas. Like it was like actually insane how loud people were screaming, and we had never really had that before to that degree with anyone new. But people knew you off platform before they ever saw you lead anything, and I always just love introducing you because I'm like, one, that is the kindest human being, and his voice is like out of this world, and your heart reflects. Oh, your heart doesn't reflect your talent. Your heart goes above and beyond your talent. If anything, your talent is a small reflection of who you are. And a lot of times people aren't like that, you know? And I think, man, you frick, this is not the podcast I want. I don't want to cry on this one.
It started once you made me say I love you in my language.
But I do think there's like the beautiful thing about this band too, because we have Puerto Ricans, we have someone from North Carolina, we got a Tongan, we got a white guy from Georgia, and we have a half a Salvadorian who's now married to a man from Arkansas. But I do think like the beauty of like the band is that it's genuinely, it's like we've never been like a forced diverse church. We've always just been a naturally diverse church in a space where you just look at the music, you look at the people on platform, and it's just a reflection of what it sounds like. And oftentimes I'm like, what does MSC sound like? I'm like, I don't really know. It sounds like what it looks like, and what they look like, you don't know. but you know you're gonna have fun. And we've been in some sketchy venues together. We were in do you remember the New York show that we played at that little like club?
Gosh, one of the best shows.
One of the best shows was definitely, this couch is bigger than the stage. And it was such an interesting thing because like I remember the guys next door were like lighting a blunt in the hallway, and they were like, yo, these guys are tight. What? Everyone knows the songs. And there was no lyrics in the back, and I was like, do you want some? And I was like, no, I'm really good tonight. Like I'm good. But I feel like I say we, who is we? I feel like I've watched you guys on this incredible journey, this story arc of whether it's writing or producing or finding the right people and growing the team into choirs, into live shows, into new records. But what do you feel like is the description of this next stage in the music in MSC? Like you said, you've been talking to God, you've been trying to tap in this thing, but what do you feel like it is? And then we're going to vote some people off the aisle.
I don't know. I think that's sort of why we're here, I would say. Like, you know, I think for me, I've had such a hard time really knowing. Because I think a lot of understanding what God's saying to you is like understanding your surroundings to some extent, you know, like knowing like where church is going has been such a big part of our lives because we follow that, you know, like there's such clear like indicators that we move when, you know, Mosaic moves when God moves, and we move when Mosaic moves because God told them to move. And now there's like so little known, I think, around us. And, you know, I think there's the question that we've been asking a million times, which is like, what is God doing? And I don't know, you know, like I think God's more alive and evident in so many ways than he's ever been, and I think he's more mysterious and than he's ever been in my perspective, you know. I don't know like where this is leading us. Like I think the last time we came here, I felt like God led us into songs and we sort of followed, and I think that was sort of the appeal and the beauty of being here, was that for the first time I had really experienced not having a plan. Because I love having plans, and I feel to some extent like it's my responsibility to have a plan for you guys, you know, to follow, or for, you know, for people. I think that's how people thrive, is like inside of structure. And so for me to not have a plan, and for me to think like, okay, well, we're just gonna come here we're going to sacrifice like time with your kids. Like it's your son's birthday today. Like you're sacrificing being away from your wife of a month, you know, like that's a lot of sacrifice to come here and put it all and just say like, we're just going to go where you lead. And sometimes where he leads is a little confusing because right now I'm like still tapping, you know, I'm tapping that, whatever you said, I'm trying to get it out. But I think that's sort of the beauty of this season and like how it sort of mirrors and parallels the season is that like, I don't know, you know, and I just have to be okay with the fact that like everything in my relationship with Jesus has prepared me for a moment that I don't know anything and I have no answers and I couldn't tell you what God's doing, but I want to be on the front lines and I want to be the first to say yes and I want to be the first person with a song to represent this moment and I want to be the first person who's willing to go. And so I think, you know, I don't know if this is a record. I hope songs come out of this that are amazing. And I hope, like, I feel more than anything today, especially that we're going to leave here and God's going to, like, do something, like, amazing with these songs. And we're going to hear them back and not even know that we were in that room. You know, that there's, like, something so, like, almost confusing about how the notes came together and the lyrics came together and in the moment maybe didn't feel as satisfying, but that we'll leave here and God will have done something really, really special that we couldn't really see or know in the moment, I guess.
Well, I think maybe that we should wrap on that. So one, I think I'm super grateful you guys were able to have this conversation with me. I kind of bamboozled you guys at the last minute and it was like, Mariah, please, could we do the podcast? And you're like, fine.
We can't run. It's literally 9 degrees
literally
outside.
9 degrees outside. But I want to say thank you for opening your process up to us, to the world, to this podcast. And two, thank you for like everything that you guys lay out. I know there's sacrifice after sacrifice, whether it's relationships or kids or moments that you miss back home and in a season, especially after a season of such heaviness that we are in a space where we are walking through this process in so many different journeys and pathways because it's each and every single person's process, but also together to be here and to watch it. And I know, like, I haven't even listened to one of the songs. And I don't have to. I can like see the place you guys are in when I'm in the room, and even when I like will ask Colin like how'd it go, and he's like trash, bro, trash. and then you know, and then like you guys are so real about yourselves, and I think that is like such a beautiful thing to watch as like an outsider who's an insider but gets to kind of be around. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're wondering like what just happened, you went on a roller coaster with some of the best people that are in my life, and I get to be around. And I think watching, the thing that I always take away from you guys is that there is nothing like a trip with you guys because it's joyful, it's happy, it's challenging, it's less about achievement and so much more about what you bring to the table and how you bring it than what you end up getting out of it. And what you end up getting out of it is like these emotions that I watch that are like, whether it's a moment that happened or a moment that will happen, I feel like you guys create these like little monuments of reference to like what God is speaking to you guys in each and every one of your lives. You're a phenomenal leader. Yes. My love and my sister and every single person in this room. So I'm grateful. I love you. And hopefully we get an episode 2 at some point with MSC. So whatever this becomes, whether it's like humans, maybe the next record will be called Aliens. Maybe. Wizards. Anyways, with that said, this is the Battle Ready Podcast. My name is Aaron McManus. I'm here with these incredible team called Mosaic MSC. We are in Wyoming. We are coming to you from the snow, from a little cabin in the snow. And if you are listening, you can rate and review this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. You can also shoot us an email at aaron@battlereadypodcast.com. But to be really honest, there's like 300 or 400 emails right now, and I can't get to them all. So don't email. Add us on Instagram at Battle Ready Podcast, and you can DM us and text us and all that stuff there. Also, thank you so much. We'll have another episode out on Friday. Goodbye. Bye. Say bye. Say bye. Say bye. Bye. Bye.